All right, let's move on to how strong of an offer can you make to an on-market deal.
Yeah.
I feel like there are 4 main categories into making an extremely strong on-market offer. And those 4 categories are due diligence, contingencies, cash versus financed, and earnest money. So let's talk about due diligence days.
Yeah.
We usually see these as DD days or triple D, right? So often when people go buy a house and they are just a residential
Retail
buyer, often you see 7 to 14 days of due diligence.
So what does that mean?
Due diligence is the time where you have to go hire an inspector, get an appraisal if you want to be that extra and get an early appraisal. I mean, I don't know. People might want to do that. I think it's a little extra, but you might.
You're saying an additional, like a BPO before?
A BPO before, which is a
broker priced opinion.
Okay. Yeah. So that is
so
basically.
You're saying not the official appraisal. You're saying a pre-appraisal.
I have heard of people getting a full appraisal during due diligence.
That's expensive.
Yes, it is.
Those are $500-$600.
I'm just telling you.
Okay,
people do
sorry.
it.
I didn't know people did that.
So 7 to 14 days, that's where people go in and do their inspections. They have their families come look at it with them. They might get mom and dad to come look at it with them. You know, you have the inspector and then you have your dad. And that's the real inspector, right? So
it's the whatever time period you agree to between the offer being accepted and
an exit.
Yes. So you put up earnest money.
Earnest money is the money you pay to lock in that property.
Yep. So you might say, okay, I'm going to give you $5,000. It goes towards the purchase price. And the deal is if you walk away from the property without closing, they keep that $5,000.
Outside of the due diligence days.
So with the due diligence days, let's say you sign up for a week or, put in your offer, a week of due diligence. So you have 7 days from the day they accept your offer until you have to be locked in.
Those are the days that you're dating the house.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. So due diligence is essentially a dating period. You're getting to know the house. You're getting to figure out, do you like the way it operates?
I like where this is going.
Is there a lot of work that needs to be done to make this relationship work?
Is the person crazy or not?
Is the person crazy or not? Are you willing to accept that crazy? Stuff like that.
Is their family crazy?
I accepted the crazy, y'all.
Yeah. Whoa. Is the family crazy? That's the real question.
Is the family crazy? Are the neighbors crazy?
Yeah.
You know, it's just you're dating the house during due diligence. And once due diligence ends, you just got engaged. You spent a lot of money on an engagement ring. That's your earnest money.
Yeah.
Right. And then when you get to closing is you get married.
So if you get engaged, you're out of your due diligence period and you say, oh man, I just found some crazy. I don't want to be with this person.
You're going to break off that engagement, but you lose. Yeah. They keep the ring. You lost your due diligence money.
So your earnest money is the ring.
Yeah.
You're giving it to that seller as a promise that you are going to buy the house.
Yeah.
And if you don't withhold that promise, they keep the ring. They keep the earnest money.
That's it.
That's a good analogy.
Hey, it's all up here. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors up there, but mostly there's cobwebs too. But
and if they don't withhold,
they don't hold up to their end of the bargain.
Yeah, I guess there's contingencies in the deal also that can get you out. So after you've gotten engaged.
So far we've talked due diligence and earnest. In a strong on-market deal, in an on-market deal, a strong offer with those two considered is low due diligence days, higher earnest money.
Right.
So we make offers with $5,000 to $10,000 in earnest money with 3 days of due diligence.
Yeah. So we have 3 days to date the house and decide, are we willing to potentially lose that money?
Yeah.
Or are we locked in?
That's it. The other 2 areas, she spoke a little bit about it, contingencies and cash versus financed. So contingencies can range from whatever you can think of.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times in Georgia, it's pest treatment on the house.
Does it have
a termite bond?
A clear termite letter?
Septic tanks a lot of times will say it has to be pumped.
Or can it get a clear septic letter?
Yes.
There's all sorts of contingencies, though. Let's say you're buying a house that has solar energy on it. You could write a contingency to say, if the solar doesn't work, I get to back out.
Yeah.
And it might take 3 or 4 weeks to get a solar company out there to check that. Well, you just bought an extra 3 to 4 weeks of due diligence, essentially, because you can get out if it shows that doesn't work. Yeah. But when you're trying to write a really strong on-market offer, you're going to only put in the contingencies that you're willing to accept
Right.
the risk on.
There's also appraisal contingencies. So like
Mhm.
if the house doesn't appraise, I'm only willing to put up $10,000 above appraisal.
Yep.
Because the bank won't loan above that. You have to come up with that cash.
That's right.
There's a lot. It's really anything you can dream up.
In a strong on-market offer, list as few or no contingencies as possible.
Yeah, I also want to add, you don't have this on your list, but the time to close is also important.
Yeah.
How quickly can you close? Typically on a retail buy, it's 30 to 60 days. It used to be 60 when we first started buying. It was always 60.
It was always 60.
And then the market got crazy and it became 30.
I got a feeling closing days are going back to 60, 90.
Yeah.
They're going back to that 2 to 3 months is how long it takes to close a house.
Which is great for us investors because we can generally close a lot faster with our financing.
Right. The house that we're under contract now, we made the offer last Friday and we're closing next Monday.
Yeah. I mean, it was a 2-week close. So it was, I think we did $5,000 in due diligence or in earnest money.
$2,000 in earnest.
Okay.
It's a lower priced house. So that's what drove the earnest. But it was 3 days due diligence.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, if we didn't follow through, and this seller had to put the house back on the market in 2 weeks, he just made $2,000.
Right.
It's not a bad day. He still wants to get rid of the house.
Yeah.
And we just created a reputation of not following through. So we follow through, and that's what we are.
Yeah.
That's what we hold ourselves to.
Right.
That we keep our word. If we say we're going to buy it, we're going to buy it.
Yeah. I don't think we have lost our earnest money on any deals.
That very first one.
I don't think we lost our earnest.
Did we get it back?
We did because they were not performing. The house had probate issues, so it took 6-9 months or something before we finally walked away.
It was pretty bad.
So we've talked due diligence days, time to close, contingencies, earnest money. So you just have financing.
Yeah. So are you going to buy this with cash or are you going to finance this?
Mhm.
A really strong offer is going to be an all cash offer. And usually you're going to have a proof of funds to show that you have cash available, whether it's a screenshot of your savings account. We've sold a few flips to where that was their proof of funds.
Yeah.
They're like, I just sold a house and I have $400,000 in my savings. Hey, there's the screenshot. There's the proof of funds. When we sold that house in Northwest, they had a savings account that had that much money in it because they sold a house.
They had like a 30% of the value loan.
Yeah.
And normally it's the other way. It's 70%.
Yeah, so. It was a unique situation, but you're going to have that proof of funds with a cash purchase.
Right.
And with a finance purchase, you're going to have a mortgage company giving you an amount you can finance. Right. That's essentially a proof of funds, but it's called something different. I don't know what it's called, but it's like a pre-approval letter of how much qualification.
Yeah.